Well, after crashing out of Europe with FC Copenhagen and almost securing the Danish Superliga title, which was our main objective here ultimately, today we turn our attention to what should be a very winnable game in the Danish Cup. We also look to make it a domestic double before we finish the season, and then after 1 year in Copenhagen, we'll be looking to move elsewhere. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 34 of the Coach's Head with me, Daniel. It's been a bit of a frustrating second half of the season with FC Copenhagen, but today we've got a reunion with Viborg, who we managed in FM22 and really enjoyed our stint with. We've also got a second leg of a Danish Cup semi-final against Vejle, lower league opposition, which should not really stand in the way of us. We've got a couple of key injuries. We've got a very small squad now after the trials and tribulations of the January window. So if you're looking forward to seeing if we can get closer to confirming our Danish Superliga title and getting one closer to winning the Danish Cup, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. Just 2 episodes to go at this club before we're very much looking for another job. But let's start by having a look at the schedule, because we've played a few games since you were last here. You were with me as we played against Nordsjælland and Rennes, heartbreaking the Europa League after a big win and a fairly fortuitous one in the domestic calendar. But since then, 5 games, 1 defeat, for 4 big victories. We hit Horsens by a 0-0 in a disgraceful performance, an early goal for Oscar Højlund, and then Jevan Diouf was the star of the show. We almost got embarrassed. We then were beaten by Midtjylland, who have been the better of us for many occasions this year, but we've often picked up the results undeservedly. Go back to that 95th minute winner in the first game between us this year. Mad Jacobsen, the youngster, got one off the bench. We are generally struggling for goals without having Schmidt now. He moved on in January and we've struggled ever since, and we lost that game as a result. We did win the first leg of this cup semi-final by 4-1. We should be all but through, but stranger things have happened. It was 2 for Gudmundsson and 2 for Gonzalo to give us a comfortable victory after we fell behind in the 3rd minute. We then beat Brøndby by 1-0 in a derby. A first-minute own goal. We did nothing to look like scoring ourselves. Jevan Diouf again was the star of the show. And against the Dents, we won by 2-1. Tiumchu and Højlund got a goal apiece. The Looker sent off late in the first half helped, but we still conceded a goal and found ourselves under pressure at the end, which is not a particularly positive sign. With all of that done though, there are 7 or 8 games remaining this season, and we're hoping to make it 9 by avoiding embarrassment in a cup today. We'll get through these 2 games and then we'll be back for the cup game, the final league fixture, and a little bit of a look at the summer transfer window, because not a summer transfer window where we're going to be worried about players coming in and out of Copenhagen, but one where we're going to be worried about the staffing merry-go-round, because we're going to be looking for a new job. Let's start today though by playing Viborg, a side we've had a great time with on the channel before. Everything's still looking pretty good in terms of the atmosphere and all that. It's not like players are hugely unhappy. It is just that Nicholas Schmidt has gone and we've lost the main goal threat. He was a guaranteed 1-2 striker, and without him we're not quite the same. At PSV, he's scoring 1-2 in the Dutch league, and we know from experience that's a pretty good level. So let's go and get through to the fixtures. We have got Midtjylland v Nordsjælland. If Nordsjælland do a job there, could be all but job done today. But Viborg will give us some stiff opposition. So let's see what team we can put out. We're going to get the opposition instructions on. And we're going to see what the match loads are like. I'm guessing, yep, all pretty heavy. But we have got 3 days off after. The Vejle game, I can play the reserves, let's be honest. So anyone who's fit today will play. But I've got a couple of adjustments to make. Back in a minute when I've done so. Well, look, it's not many changes, but I'm just trying to get a few of the heavy match loads out. And we're struggling to do that in midfield because obviously Romeo's injured. He would come in. On the left, we've got Suarez injured anyway, so we're having to be careful. But this is the team I've gone for. We've brought in Ganau, Achori, Jakobsen and Winther in defence. It means our 11 in full is Diouf in goal, who's had to be the star of the show for the most part recently. Ganau and Gendry the fullbacks, with Winther and Jensen the centre halves. Tiumchu, Højlund and Bruno the midfield 3. Gonzalo, Achori and Jakobsen the front 3. He scored 2 now. He's a good young striker. He's not far off the quality of Gudmundsson, who's not been scoring either. The bench is as strong as I think it can be in the circumstances. I was tempted to leave Joe May out altogether because he is struggling with his match load, but still, I feel like he offers a bit more and the versatility of two positions. So the likes of Goodmanson, Gallego and Joe May drop out. Let's go and get through to this one today and hope that we can get a result to all but secure the title. Well, Ibrahim Said is out of the Viborg team today, meaning there's none of the originals that we inherited in our FM22 save. He's not even on the bench, so I wonder if it's an injury or suspension. But it's still a pretty strong side. They're in the top half. They're doing well. So we're going to ask the lads to prove a point. We've got most of them inspired. To be honest, we're still playing pretty well. There's not been much change in the performance level. The only real difference has been we haven't got a goal scorer. And when you've got someone who will put the ball in the back of the net nearly every game, you're always going to be more confident. But here we are flying down the right-hand side early on. And to be honest, after the brilliant time we had at Willem 2, it's been a little bit disappointing this stint. We might have just got a penalty though. It says it looks harsh, but we're going to VAR and I'm not sure this will be overturned. No idea who takes it if we win one. Maybe Tiumchu again. Penalty awarded. But after having such fun with Willem 2, this has ended up being a bit of a weird year, particularly with the transfer frustration. It's Umut Tiumchu who does step up. Right-footed. Saved again. How many penalties is that bloke going to miss? I've got to see the stats. I've got to see the stats. Maybe it's worse than I remember. Yeah, it is, to be fair. He's missed 2 out of 4. But his penalty taking rating's 13. His composure's good. I've just never seen the penalty taking attribute matter less. Very odd one. Elias Achori with the corner kick. Chance to put it in. To the back post, headed away. Jensen can't get there. And Bruno's got the chance on the right-hand side. Back to Gendry. Support down the line, but doesn't find it. It's a dominant first 10 minutes. We've already missed a penalty. But again, it's the same question we've asked for, well, 3 months now. Who's going to score the goals without Nicholas Schmidt? Well, just 5 minutes to half time, and it all seems to have gone incredibly quiet since the missed penalty. Tiumchu has gone into his shell. We've not really found a way to create many other clear chances. And it's turning into another one of those games, which is why I've not showed so much towards the end of the season. Just boring 1-0s, frustrating wins. Not the free-flowing football we'd hoped for. As Tiumchu finds Bruno. Do we get a bit of magic? Almost. Just wide of the post. At least Tiumchu was involved in something good there. Might pick him back up. The expected goal's over 1. But again, we're not creating a huge amount at the minute. And Jakobsen, the youngster, bless him, he's not really got involved. But you want him to come into a team that's firing, not one that's struggling to create chances. As it is, though, I'm going to probably bring him off now. We'll look at people we can take off too. Nick Lewis can replace Tiumchu. We're going to go for Elias Achori off, who struggled, and I'll have to bring Joe May on out wide there. Jakobsen will be replaced by Goodmanson, although maybe I put him into midfield. Jakobsen switches with Højlund, and Højlund, who had a great start to the season, is drifting away. So we'll go Goodmanson up front. Maybe I'll bring Fernandez left back as well, just so Ganel doesn't get sent off. Although I can't remember many reds for a second yellow this year. It's always the lunges or nothing. There's 20 minutes remaining, and it does look like this game's petering out a bit. Though as I say that, the Viborg corner, the hosts have got a chance from a set piece. Lund Jensen up, but not away. Back to the edge of the box again. And there it is, in at the near post. If you don't take your chances, you are often going to be punished. And yet again, that is happening for us here. This second half of the season has been literally infuriating. It's really done my head in, I've got to be honest with you. I'm going to make the sub in midfield now. Jakobsen off for Enkart. It's about all we've got in there. I'm just going to hope. Is Bruno better in that role? It said he was before, so we'll give him a go. More advanced role. And it's another corner kick that we've got to defend. But that's one of the risks we've had today. We took out Gallego for Winther. We took out Joe May from the start. And that's where the height went. And it definitely cost us. With 10 minutes to go, Viborg are looking stronger at the end. Yes, physically, we're asking a lot of these boys. They're struggling a little bit, but we were a one-man team with Nicholas Schmidt. I know Højlund was scoring goals, whatever, but Schmidt was the man making it happen. He was giving the goal threat. He was creating the space. And we've got nothing without it. It's been a very poor performance, and it's a very good job we won those first 15 games because since the January window, well, let's be fair, we've been left with a shell of the squad. We've been a mess. No senior left backs, and it shows. We're conceding more goals. No quality senior striker, not scoring goals. It shows. and no real depth in wide areas. It's shown as well. Winther plays out for Gendry. The question now is, can we preserve our little mini unbeaten run and get a draw out of this? Can we rescue one with May across the box to Bruno? It's 1-1. We probably don't deserve it in the second half, but over the course of the game, we should have won it. Because Tiumchu in the first half, if he scores that penalty, it's a very different match. As it is, we'll have to settle for a draw, but we do get something out of it, and that's the main thing. We can sit back, watch Midtjylland v Nordsjælland now, and the next Midtjylland win, there's no damage from today. And with the cup coming up in midweek with a 4-1 advantage, we should be able to get a few youngsters on and rest most of these boys. They're going to need it because they look shattered at the end of that. Well, a 1-1 draw between Midtjylland and Nordsjælland means no damage. There are 6 games to go. There's 14 points in it. It's job done, essentially, isn't it? If we go and have a look at the youth candidates as well, we have had our intake, and there is one potential superstar in there. And you're going to have to be very surprised here. I hope you're sitting down, because our star player is a centre-half in Jeppe Storch. He is 6'3" at the age of 16. You've seen it right. Your eyes are not deceiving you. A central defender, a regen in FM, 6'3" at the age of 16. Good in the air, determination. Very good young central defender. Happy with him. He'll be involved if we were here for years, but we're not going to be. Next best was a goalkeeper, Nicholas Hansen, who again is all right, but he has got the usual problem, which is no composure. So 2 players, one of them will feature for the club in the future. For now, though, we're all about midweek. Let's get to the cup tie. Make sure we're in a Danish Cup final. Well, this is potentially a gamble, but I don't feel I've really got a choice because most of the boys I've left out today have got a match load of over 300 minutes in the last 2 weeks. We've got another game at the weekend to secure the title. We're 4-1 up on aggregate. I feel like I've got to play the rotated side, and it's a great experience for some of these youngsters as well. So Lundgren, the backup keeper, comes in. Lewis and Gunnar are the fullbacks with Markussen and Winther at centre-half. So 2 of the back 4 from the weekend still play. Enghart, Hughes and Jacobsen a completely changed midfield, with Achori staying on the left alongside Georgievski and Jensen in the front 3, with the returning Kasper Lund and Nielsen, 2 young stars on the bench. Let's go and get into it. We should still get through on aggregate. Whether or not we win on the night will be a very different question. There are some heavy match load game savers there if we need them on the bench. I'd like to wrap them all up in cotton wool. Let's see if we can get away with it. Well, second tier opposition at 4-1 should not be a problem in this game, but stranger things have happened to us this second half of the year. Will one of these youngsters prove themselves to be a goal threat that we haven't got in the team at the minute? There's a chance to work your way in here. Jimmy Jensen, you've got your opportunity. Let's go and get into it. Nordsjælland are 3-0 up after their first leg against lower league opposition as well, so they should be our opponents in the final. It's just about who goes in better style, and immediately it looks like Nordsjælland. They're 1 up after 2 minutes, 4 on aggregate now. But we've had a quiet start to this game, which is good enough for me. Lundgren forced into the first good save from a free kick. He might be busy today, given the defence we're putting out. The assistant actually recommended to play a few first teamers, which I didn't do in the end. I might be questioning why soon, as they've got it on the edge. Out wide to the corner taker. Deflected behind for another one. They're definitely the more aggressive side at the minute. They've got to be in this situation. But can we just hit them on the counter and get one? Into the front post. Good header away, Gunnar. And Lewis will chase it out. Long old highlights not lead to anything. As in the box they go. But it might be another penalty. Lewis clears it downfield. And for now, we've got a little bit of respite. They didn't really create much from it. A few set pieces and a bit of territory early on. Well, half an hour on the clock. It has been quiet, which I'm more than happy with tonight. I'm not expecting these youngsters to go and blow them out the water. They're players that probably, if we had a full squad and I was in charge of transfers, would be on loan at clubs of this sort of size. As Elias Achori flicks it on for Jensen. Would be lovely if he could get a goal. In he goes. He's forced wide though. Cuts it back to Elias Achori, and it's a good save. By far the oldest player in that attacking line. It's a bunch of teenagers, and then it's Elias Achori in his 30s. As Elias has got the corner himself to the front post. Gunnar's up. Falls for Jacobsen. Back into midfield today. Can't quite make it count. It's cleared away. It's going to stay 0-0 at the minute, but I'm pretty happy with the performance from this team. Whether or not we've got the first team or the reserves out, though, there is no sign of us really scoring goals, which is a worry, as Mehmet goes back to his keeper, and Vejle will go for the direct approach right over the top. Lewis heads away to Enghart. It sort of hits the back of his head and falls for the visitors again. And they work down the right-hand side. Chance to cross. Deflects into the path of the centre forward. And now there's a little bit of worry around the stadium. A little bit of anxiety. We concede it's 4-2 on aggregate. And that has come from our own undoing, I'm afraid. We've set it up by not really clearing the ball well, not showing any composure at the back. But we are straight at the other end with Jensen. And finally, we got a corner delivery right, but it's a handball against Ganal. Maybe that's why we won it. He stuck his hand in the air. We've been the better side without scoring. Story of the second half of the season. We're 1-0 down at the break, and we don't want to let in another. I'm going to say, don't look at the scoreboard and think the job is done. I'm going to take off the booked Georgievski for Kasper Lund, who was further ahead of him in the pecking order before he got his injury. And I'm just hoping someone's going to produce. That's what we really need, is someone to just turn up with a moment of magic. I don't know how to explain it. How was Nicholas Schmidt not responsible for scoring all of our goals, but is responsible for all of our goal threat? Hughes plays it to Ganal. Good delivery. Jakobsen's up. Heads over via the top of the crossbar. It's a really frustrating night, this, because it's been so frequently the case in the last 2 months where we just dominate and dominate, but cannot score. Something that was so easy to us before. Elias Achori puts the ball in. Ganal wins the header. Hughes is there. Back to Achori again. Into the box he goes. Back to Enghart. Ganal must score. Blazes it over from 8 yards. No pressure on him at all there. And I'm wondering if I'm going to have to bring the big guns on. It's actually Achori who's playing the worst of the lot. Jakobsen's not had a great game. Lewis is on a yellow. There's a few things to consider. As Jakobsen picks the ball up, down the line to Lund. Good play from him. Inside to Hughes, who's got space to run into. There's options out left. Achori looks for the overlap of Ganal. We know the one thing he can do is cross the ball. Goes back to Enghart instead. And now Jakobsen. Lund must score. Does score. Took a deflection. It was a fortunate one from a poor finish. But it's a really well-worked goal. It's lovely football. And we get the finishing touch it really deserved. I'm not sure we beat Nordsjælland playing like this. But we are in the final, which is lovely. I'm going to bring on Sven Nielsen for Elias Achori. He can just go as a sort of traditional winger, which he prefers. And then do I make any others just yet? Probably not, in truth. We're going to leave it like that. If I can avoid having to bring the others on, all of the experienced players, then that would be perfect come the end of the day. Well, 10 minutes to go. You look at the match stats and again wonder how we're not winning on the night. But it is going to be a very light bench at the weekend because a lot of these boys are knackered now. But the job is done overall. I know we should have won. I know we've wasted chances again. But we've got ourselves through. And that was the objective tonight. No embarrassment despite an early hint of anxiety. 1-1 on the night, 5-2 on aggregate. And it will be Copenhagen v Nordsjælland in a Danish Cup final. And that will be the next episode and our final one at the club. Let's see when it's going to be. Nordsjælland, is it the last game of the season? Oh no. Why have you done that to us? Why would you put it that far away from the end of the year on a Thursday night? Oh, you absolute clowns. In that case, we are going to be back for those 2 games because Midtjylland are the closest side in a title race. Nordsjælland are going to be the cup final opponents. And then we won't even bother with the last 4 if we've won the league already. We'll just show those 2 and then we can start looking for a job because we'll have the 2 trophies in the cabinet. If you're looking forward to finding out how we get on in them, you did enjoy this one, more frustration in front of goal, then please do put a thumbs up on it. What sort of job do you think I should be looking for next? A middling club in a bigger nation or a bigger club in a middling nation? One thing we're definitely not going to do is go to a league where the reserve side is an official B team playing in the lower leagues because that is causing chaos. We've seen it in Germany. We've seen it here. The director of football just doesn't work when you have that. So we're going to find a league that doesn't have B teams. But what sort of style would you like to see? Then we'll see if those availability of jobs are there. If you want to stay up to date and find out where we go and whether we can finish with a domestic double here, I don't fancy it against Nordsjælland the way we're playing at the minute. And do subscribe and turn that notification bell on. We'll be back in a couple of days' time to polish off the season with this one. But in the meantime, we will be back tomorrow with Southend United, where it's been a very interesting season and continues to be. That playlist is up in the eye above, as is the link to the football podcast. Thank you for the insane support with the 4 pre-season prediction shows looking ahead to the EFL 3 divisions and, of course, the National League 2. That playlist in the eye above, as is the Twitch channel for regular live streams it's been great having so much football chat with a new club season on the way. Appreciate you all being here as always. Thank you very much for watching. We're still struggling for goals, but we're bundling our way over the line. And hopefully in the cup final next time, we'll do exactly that before finding a new job.